Hello, this is the first of two short presentations about evidence-based practice and advocacy for teacher librarians. It focuses on why evidence is important for TLs. Evidence and evidence-based practice are vital for the future of school libraries and teacher librarians. They underpin a professional TL's role and support advocacy. TLs need to not only do a great job, but also to demonstrate that they do a good job. School-based management and competing budgetary imperatives call for solid evidence. Highlighting this point, Gary Hartzell, who's a US academic and advocate for school libraries, stresses that in the school environment, accountability and a demonstration of pressing need take high precedence in budget and staffing allocations. And in addition, the Australian government's inquiry into school libraries and teacher librarians draws attention to the urgent need for meaningful evidence about the work practices of teacher librarians and their contributions to school goals and student academic, social and cultural achievements. And if you're wondering about the significance of the photo, I adapted this presentation from one I did for cyber school last year, and the title of that paper was Flipping the Evidence. So although the photos perhaps aren't entirely relevant to this presentation, I left them because I hope that you might enjoy them anyway. So, who needs evidence about school libraries and teacher librarians? And why do they need this evidence? Perhaps most importantly, education policymakers and school principals need detailed, reliable evidence to support informed decision-making about school library resourcing and staffing. However, and this won't come as a surprise to many of you, research shows that school principals are often unaware of the full potential of school libraries and teacher librarians. So we really need to raise their awareness, and we do this with evidence. As teacher librarians also, we need evidence to guide our own professional practice and to demonstrate our value to the whole school community. TLs frequently need evidence to make decisions, to develop policy, to implement programs, and to gain budgetary support. And for example, we may often be challenged by quite taxing questions, like these. Should I purchase more ebooks or only ebooks for the library? Why do some students hang around the library all the time and others just never visit? How do other teachers view my role as TL? Do they understand what I do, and why not? How can I persuade the principal that teacher librarian should be a full-time position? And perhaps most importantly of all, why should the government mandate, or maybe why don't they mandate, the employment of qualified TLs in schools? To respond to questions like these authoritatively and convincingly, we need to act as evidence-based practitioners. We need to develop what Ross Todd describes as evidence for practice, and to focus on showing the outcomes of what we do as a TL, more simply than just reporting what we do. So, anecdotes about what we do are not enough, but they can of course be highly valuable as illustrations of best practice to support the more sort of solid evidence that we gather. Evidence-based practice and advocacy are intertwined. Advocacy is important to ensure the continuing viability of the TL profession and to ensure that school students and their communities have equitable access to well-resourced, professionally staffed school libraries. However, to be meaningful and effective, advocacy needs a sound base of evidence. We can't argue a case and win support without evidence to back up the points that we're making. A groundswell of advocacy by TLs and professional associations such as ASLA and ALIA and SLAC brought about the National Inquiry into School Libraries and Teacher Librarians in 2010. This inquiry gathered data through almost 400 written submissions and hearings in all capital cities. You might be interested to hear that the QUT MED's teacher librarianship teaching team contributed written reports and oral evidence on behalf of QUT's education faculty. We were very proud to see that the inquiry quoted us in the introduction to their final report. The submissions and the full inquiry report are available online, and you'll see the link at the bottom of the screen. The inquiry's recommendations included the need for more research about the links between library programs, literacy and student achievement, greater promotion to the school community of the teacher-librarians' work, and a national dialogue on the role of teacher-librarians today and into the future. Perhaps the most important finding of the inquiry was the lack of data on vital points about teacher librarians and school libraries. And this included things as basic as not knowing the number of teacher librarians who are actually employed in schools around Australia. Notably, the inquiry associated the under-resourcing of school libraries with a lack of solid evidence that demonstrates their value to students, schools and the wider community. We really must fill that evidence gap by carrying out everyday evidence-based practice and formal research. This all sounds a bit tricky, I know, but Anne Gillespie's research is very helpful in demonstrating how TLs can be evidence-based practitioners. And as an example of how we can generate and use evidence through formal research, please see the video that I've put together entitled Snapshot of the Gold Coast Study. You'll find this on the unit website. This study provides compelling evidence about the contribution of school libraries and teacher librarians to student literacy development. And now I'm just going to let you have a quick look at some of the references that I've used in bringing together this presentation. I think you'll find them helpful in following up some of the ideas that I've been talking about and perhaps to use in your own evidence-based practice.